to Forms and Free for All Fridays. And the reason I call it that is because we always are going to go through some forms, whether they be MLS forms or whether they be forms that Fathom requires. And then the free for all part is up to you. So if you have anything you'd like to discuss, talk about anything that, any questions that you have, we always welcome your questions. And usually we have other brokers on. We have Deb Love is on here, and she's a district director for the South Valley office, but I haven't seen Jeff yet. He may be joining us. Believe it or not, Georgia is a licensed agent. And of course, you all know how knowledgeable Georgia is. She's just, I love the fact that she works out of my office because she and I bounce things off of one another all the time, and I love it. So, but anyway, there's a lot of things that we want to get accomplished, but I want to start it off. I made this commitment to myself a couple of months ago that we'll always start it off with asking you, is there anything on your mind? Any questions that you want to ask or anything? I usually save that till the end, and I find that people kind of fizzle out. So anything anybody has on their mind, any questions about anything, it could be technology, the market, whatever. And
I have a comment, Don, actually. As far as our market goes, you guys were talking the other day about how can you get started and doing this and that, whatever. And, we as realtors are telling the people, well, it's the interest rates are still good and the prices are dropping a little bit. So it's still a great time to buy. But what we have to, as realtors, have to, I've learned over many years being in this country, for lack of a better term, that the American people can only handle one issue at one time. So think about this. So we got multiple deer in the headlights here. It's not just the housing market, it's the groceries, it's the gas, and there's so many things going on. It's got the people confused. And until that all stabilizes and they prioritize, the housing market is going to be questionable. So I would tell my sellers, this is the way it is. It's not just a great time to buy. People are worried more about inflation and gas prices than housing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Richard. By the way, Richard, what's your last name?
Malievsky.
Richard Malievsky. Okay, and you're with the St. George office, are you?
Yes.
Well, welcome. I haven't seen you in here before, and we thank you for your comments. And I think they're spot on. There really are a lot of things going on right now in our country. And the thing that we need to do is not pay attention to all the noise, because I have, yeah, most of you that know me know I have a condition called shiny object syndrome, okay, where I can get started on a project or something, and then all of a sudden, oh, look, oh, there's something pretty over here. Or, my attention gets directed. Deb,
it's called ADD. I have it.
Well, I've always been borderline ADD. And if you guys ever want to see, a comedy in the making, come to my families. I get my entire family for dinner, family dinner once a month. And I have 5 children that are all just like me. They all are borderline ADHD. And it's like laughter and commenting and everybody fighting to get their word in. And but I have an incredible family. They're all successful and they all love life like I do. And so, yeah, that's great. So I want to just talk about a couple things that you said. Sometimes with all the noise, there are certain things that get buried. And I agree with that, especially because the feds see that one of the ways to control inflation is to raise interest rates. And even though when they raise interest rates 0.75%, they're talking about raising it another percent, it doesn't directly affect housing. It does have an effect on housing, our interest rates. And so, but I want you to know that I sold houses when interest rates were at 19 and 20%, and we still sold houses. And that's our job, is to show people why it's still a good market, because it still is an incredible market. And we're going to go through 5 scripting things today that will help you in this market, this changing market. So thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else have anything before we go on and get started? No? Okay. Well, then just know that anytime that you have a question, you cannot offend me. Unmute your microphone and just chime in, and I'll stop what I'm saying, and would love to to answer your questions at any point in time. So don't think that, oh, I better wait, it's rude to bust in. No, I'm fine with that. I want your questions to get answered. I have people call me all the time, agents all the time, and they say, oh, Don, I'm so sorry, I know you're really busy. And do you know what I tell them? And I'll let all of you know this: stop it. You are what I do. Okay. So, and I love what I do. So just know that we want every question to get answered. That's how our entire Fathom family is. I see that Dina Hadley just joined us. She's our branch broker for the St. George office. And I know I can speak for every one of our brokers. We have an incredible leadership team, and we truly are here to serve you, our Fathom family. Okay. So anyway, enough said. Let's go into, I'm going to share my screen, and let's see. Okay. Oh, that's somebody that had a late entry. The first thing I want to, for those of you that were, it doesn't matter if you were or if you weren't in the class yesterday, but Julie, with our marketing department, for those of you that don't know this, our Fathom marketing department received a very prestigious award, a nationwide award for their marketing efforts, and for the pieces they produce, and for their approach to marketing. And so that's why we wanted to have them, and we'll probably have them back. And so yesterday, Julie spoke about this was something that they just presented. I don't think she said yesterday, it's not on Fathom Wiki yet. I'm sure it will be at some point. So if you want a copy of this and you can't find it in Fathom Wiki, let me or Georgia know, and we'll be happy to send you the link to open this up. But this is 5 scripts you need right now. Conversations you'll need during the market shift. So we're going to start with this today, because I want to dig right in, because these are things that I think will open up your mind, and a lot of what Richard just said, it'll help you to kind of maybe start formulating your conversations and how you feel comfortable answering the questions that people are going to be asking you, because we have some tough questions that people are going to be throwing at us. In fact, just to give you an idea, everybody kind of reacts when things happen. Good news, gas prices are coming down, even here in Utah. It took a while for that to happen. Gas was up to $5.29 a gallon. I saw a place that had it at $4.81 a gallon today. So hopefully that'll continue to happen. They say that in the next couple of months that gas should be below $4 a gallon, which would be nice to even get it that low. Would it be possible to put the direct link here in the chat? Yes, I can do that maybe at the end, and then I'll keep it open for a little bit. I certainly can do that, Brent. Okay, good idea. All right, so we're going to start with this today. And you guys, if you ever have any friends that you think are a good fit for Fathom, remember, you get stock grants when you help to recruit somebody. And all you have to do is contact your district director, give them a name and a phone number, and we'll follow up with them. I've got like 3 or 4 people right now that I'm working with. I just recruited one this morning. And so we love bringing people on board with us. And the reason I brought that up is because right here, fathomcareers.com, that is our careers website that tells them all about Fathom. You can give them that email address and say, hey, check this out, and then give your district director their phone number, and we'll follow up with them. And they'll already have a working knowledge of how Fathom operates. Okay, so these are 5 scripts that you need right now, conversations you'll need during the market shift, because that's what's happening right now. In fact, it is such a market shift that I had got, we have a rep for Edge Homes here. And I just bought a brand new home that I closed on the end of January, and I got some information from them too. And both of them have lowered the pricing on their product from $30,000 to $50,000. So, because business has slowed down and they've been going like gangbusters building stuff, they want to still continue to make it viable for people to get into homes. And so that bringing prices down that much helps to make up for a little higher interest rate. Okay.
What's that percentage, Don?
What's the percentage?
Yeah, there was 30 to 50,000 down from what?
Down from these homes are into 500,000 to 600,000. Right?
Oh, okay, about 10% then. Good.
Yeah. So it really is good. Yeah. So about 20 years ago, I'm going to just read this. There was a popular book called Who Moved My Cheese? I've heard of that book before. I haven't read it, but I may get a copy and read it. The book's premise was a business parable about how the characters dealt with changes they had no control over. Sound familiar? The recent rise in interest rates and other economic factors impacting the housing market may have left you wondering who moved your cheese and how you will navigate these changes successfully in your business. It is time to flex your professional development skills and ensure you are prepared to offer your clients the best advice and guidance to navigate today's market. Preparation is key. The conversations you had 6 months ago will not apply to the decisions facing buyers and sellers today. As a trusted advisor, you need to be prepared. Do you agree with those statements? Conversations you had 6 months ago, they don't apply, do they? 6 months ago, we were in the middle of multiple offers. I mean, we're talking 10, 20. We had one home that had 30 offers on it. Buyers were fighting over properties and everything because interest rates were historically low. Interest rates are still very, very low. Okay, we just have to find ways for them to be able to get around that a little bit. Okay, so script number one, the cost of waiting, addressing interest rates and affordability. This is something that you really need to gain an understanding of so that you can have an intelligent conversation with your clients or potential clients and help them to kind of see the numbers behind all this, okay? So a cost of waiting analysis is a tool lenders use to calculate the amount of equity a buyer would accumulate if they purchased a home now versus the amount of equity lost by waiting. Knowing how long they intend to live in their new home is critical to determining if they should buy now or hold off. If they anticipate staying longer than 5 years, think short term when considering mortgage interest rates. Okay. The phrase marry the house, date the rate has become popular recently. As rates change, there are two options. Number one, lock in now to protect against higher rates. And number two, lock in now. And if rates go down, you can refinance your mortgage to lower your monthly payments. The main factor to consider is, can your client afford the monthly payments comfortably at today's rate? So before we read this last paragraph, one of the things that some of the new home builders are also offering, they're offering a lock-in rate, a lock-in pricing. Remember when it hasn't been that long ago, maybe 6 months or a little longer ago, that builders were even doing multiple offers. Builders were creating a wedge so they could get the most out of their product. Well, now they're bringing prices down and they're offering rate locks and they're offering other incentives on top of the $30,000 to $50,000 that they're taking off the prices of homes. They're also offering, one of them is offering on top of that, $12,000 toward a buyer's closing costs and or other costs. So there's a lot of things that are going on. So the main factor to consider, though, and this is correct, is can your client afford the monthly payments comfortable at today's rate? Because there are temporary things that we can do to help to help kind of solve the problem. If most of the economists are correct, they are predicting that the raise in housing interest rates are temporary, that it's just that they're trying to control inflation, and over the next couple of years, that interest rates will come back down to where they were. Okay, that I don't know. Nobody knows. We don't have a crystal ball. But if that's the case, then somebody still would have to be approved at today's interest rate. But then you would work with your loan officer and find some other relief for your buyers. So, for instance, I have been preaching this ever since interest rates started going up. And all of a sudden, I see a couple of mortgage companies that are doing classes on this. It's called a 2-1 buy down. For those of you that don't know what a 2-1 buy down is, you're buying the interest rate down for the first year, even though the client has to be approved at today's interest rate. The first year of their mortgage is 2% below the going interest rate. So if they're approved for a 5% mortgage and they do a 2-1 buy down, the first year they will only pay make a payment that that reflects 3%. Okay. The second year it goes up 1% more to 4%. And the third year it would level off at what they were approved for, the 5%. What I have found in this market, and markets similar to this, because I've been in real estate for 32 years, even though people can be approved and can afford a certain rate, they make comments like, yeah, but I want to own my house. I don't want my house to own me. Okay. And so they're not comfortable with the higher payment. So if you can give them some temporary relief, and hopefully the economists are correct, and in a couple of years, interest rates are going to start coming down, then they can refinance. That is one conversation you can have with your clients. Okay.
Hey, Don.
Yeah.
I was told a long time ago by an agent, he said, you have two choices in life, either pay rent or rent money.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to talk about that too, Richard. Okay. So let's move on. Additionally, the cost of waiting analysis considers the expected appreciation for the local area the buyer is planning to purchase. It demonstrates how much equity the home shopper will miss out on by waiting. Even with the slowdown in the market right now, values are still expected to appreciate 3 to 6% a year over the next 3 to 5 years. Did everybody hear that? We're just not going to experience 20 to 30% rise in equity values like we have the last couple of years, but values are still expected to rise 3 to 6% over the next 3 to 5 years. Talk with your preferred lender about preparing a cost of waiting analysis for your clients and to develop the best financial strategy for them. You know what? I went in and I thought, you know what? A cost of waiting analysis. I just typed in cost of waiting to buy a home calculator. Okay. And look at this. Buy now versus wait calculator. Buy now versus wait calculator. We're not going to go through any of them, but I wanted you to see that you can Google anything and you can actually do the calculations yourself. If you don't understand how to do them, you can work with your lender. And that's a great conversation to have with potential purchasers. Okay. Anybody have any questions on script number 1? These are all
quick thought, Don.
Yeah.
You know, it's the question is, why is it the price is going to keep going up? Labor might come down on a house, but there's a shortage of materials that keep going up. That's the hidden thing people don't know about.
Yeah. It's in any industry and in any part of the industry, it's the old game of supply and demand, isn't it? But remember when lumber costs went skyrocketed, they've actually come back down again. So what goes up must come down. Real estate is the same. It is cyclical. We hit the high point of real estate and now it's starting to come down a little bit, but there'll be a point where it will go back up again. You know what? My son in 2008, they were in their starter home that they were planning on being in for 5 years. They ended up being in that starter home for 14 years because in 2007 or 8 and 9, they wanted to sell their home and they were $65,000 upside down. So if they sold their home, they would make no money. They would have to come out of pocket with $65,000. They waited until last year and we made them $125,000 on their home to put down on a new home. That's what you call a cyclical, how the cycle works in real estate. We just, one of the dialogues that we'll talk about is you have to have the discussion with, is this, are you going to own this property long-term or short-term? So we'll get to that here in a second. Okay, number 2, will housing prices go down? This is a good one, isn't it? The best way to address this concern is to look at the data. For example, if a buyer plans on owning a home for 7 to 10 years, even a short-term dip in house price appreciation will not impact the equity built over the long term. The Federal Housing Finance Agency, www.fhfa.gov, is a great resource for charts and data to include in buyers and sellers consultation materials. A graph like the example below can help a buyer visualize Visualize that the only time homes depreciated in the last 20 years were during the 2007 to 2011 market downturn. In addition, this graph can facilitate a discussion about the current market and the likelihood or unlikelihood of price depreciation. So here you go. From 2007, you can see that 2011 was about the lowest point in appreciation. But then look, then it started taking off, and look what it's done since 2020. It's almost a straight line up. Here's April of 2022. So even though we may see a dip coming down a little bit, well, what the economists are saying is we're still going to experience a 3 to 6% appreciation rate. So that's why real estate has always been the best investment that you can put your money into. Okay. All right. Number 3, is now a good time to list. Move up comparison. Today's homeowners have benefited tremendously from the last decade of the housing market. As a result, many have large amounts of equity in their home. In other words, the difference between the potential sales price and the amount they still owe on their mortgage. Working through a move-up comparison can help your clients determine their options. For example, if they own a $750,000 property and owe $450,000, they have $300,000 in equity. They could sell their current home and buy a $900,000 property with 25% down, which is $225,000, and still have $75,000 in cash to make, I don't know, I bought a new home. We had to hold back some money so we could do landscaping and fencing and all that kind of stuff. Now they are living in a new home that better matches their current needs. This is an appealing option to many, but they need help working through the math to truly understand the opportunity. Using a move-up comparison, your preferred loan officer can help you and your clients determine the best ownership strategy. This is a great value add to offer to your clients. Consider contacting all your past clients and sellers in your sphere of influence to see if they would be interested in having this evaluation completed on their property. Okay, what a great idea. And guess what? To give you an idea, I closed on my brand new home January 27th of this year. I just did a CMA on my home. I've already got somewhere between $40,000 to $50,000 equity in my home, and probably more than that because we put in fencing, we put in some additional cement. We have several water softener. We've done several things to even improve it even more. So anyway, is now a good time to list, move up comparison, work with your preferred lender and get some answers to those questions and be prepared. So when people ask you these kinds of questions, you know how to have a conversation about it. Does that make sense, everybody? I think so. Okay, how about this one? Number 4, first-time home buyers, rent versus buy. Oh my heavens, this is such an easy one. And guess what? An easy spot to market to. If you have like a farm area and you have some monster, rental properties, like some of these big complexes or whatever, most of them, you can't put flyers on the doors or anything like that. They don't allow it. But guess what you could do? You could get the address of the property and then go around and write down, apartment number 357. For instance, we lived in the park at Civic Center, right across the street from the new theater, the new whatever it's called, the theater in Sandy. And we had the same address as everybody else. We were just apartment number 357. So you could get that, and then you can do some pieces about renting versus buying. And I'll bet you could get some business out of that. I have in the past, and I can show you where you can have some already made graphics that will help you with this. Does somebody have a question?
Yeah, Don, what I used to do with this, and I've specialized in first-time home buying. What I used to do was get a couple of agents with me, and then we'd hold a seminar and send out invitations to all the younger groups to come, and we'd present this to them in a group. And it worked very effectively.
A great idea, because people want to know if they can afford. Do you know one of the most common kickbacks that you'll get from somebody living in an apartment. Oh, my credit's not good enough. Did you know that the statistics are staggering? They're like 40% of renters that think they can't qualify for a new home actually
Uh-huh.
can. They actually
Well,
can.
with the group I would get a loan officer there that would help explain that. And then I'd put usually a contractor to explain what it costs to build if they were going to build. And then I would present the other stuff.
Yeah. Do you know
And
what
it
else
worked
I would
out
have there?
beautifully.
Yeah. Do you know who else I would have there? I would have a credit repair company there.
Right.
So that people have, have credit issues, that you're answering all of their objections. Okay. You're helping them to get on the road or on the path to being able to be a homeowner. Okay, so anyway, here's what they say about first-time home buyers, rent versus buy. Anybody currently renting but thinking about purchasing a home should look at a rent versus buy analysis. This calculation will take into account the home buyer's net mortgage payment, which backs out the principal portion of the principal and interest payment, as well as the tax advantages of home ownership. The monthly cost can then be compared to the cost of monthly renting. Finally, factor back in the house price appreciation of 3 to 6% per year, and you get a comparison of the financial implications of buying versus renting. In 2021, listen to this, this is incredible. In 2021, about 28% of the market was attributed to first-time home buyers. Helping these buyers understand the impact of renting versus buying is essential. It is helpful to have several comparisons of these costs worked and in tables for easy discussion during your buyer's consultations. Your preferred lender can help prepare these tables and is an excellent resource in evaluating options for the first-time home buyer. So you're hearing a common thread in each one of these. What is that common thread? Work with your preferred lender. Have them do some work with you. If you're doing a different lender on every deal, you're really missing out. You need to find a lender that you feel comfortable with, form a relationship with them so that they will, bend over backwards to help you with the things that you need to improve your business. And in return, they'll get some of your business. Okay. I don't ever recommend that you put all your eggs in one basket, but definitely work with one company that, gives you the tools that you need and is willing to invest some money to help you with your career. Okay. Anyway, to give you an example of this, okay, I'm going to give you my example because I was horrible. We sold a townhouse in 2013. No, that's what I moved into it. 2013. Anyway, we paid off all our debt and we decided we're going to live in 2 or 3 different areas that we thought we wanted to live in and see what we liked the best. This was while interest rates were continuing to go down and prices were continuing to go up. We lived in Sugar House for a while. We thought that's where we wanted to buy. Didn't work out. They're destroying that with too many high-rise apartment buildings. Then we moved to Sandy and decided that, somewhere in this neck of the woods, we might like it. Then I have kids, 5 grown kids, and 3 of them live out in the Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs area. So we checked out what was going on out in Saratoga Springs and found that we really liked it. Give you an idea. For the last 18 months, we were paying $2,400 a month for rent. Anybody calculate that number? $2,400 even times 12 is a staggering $30,000 or so that we wasted. We threw it out the window when we could have been applying it toward a new property. We had a really nice apartment, had really nice amenities and everything, but I'm telling you, I finally decided, you know what? Well, and we had the same mindset. We're going to wait because prices are going to come down a little bit and interest rates will continue to come down. Well, interest rates couldn't come down anymore and prices continued to go up. So I finally told my other half, we're going to go out shopping for a home today. We closed the end of January, just before interest rates started really going up. So you guys, you lose out. That was money wasted on my part. But now I'm happy to say we're in a beautiful home and we're excited to be there. Okay. And number 5, this is another conversation you need to learn to have with people. Price reductions. Real estate agents haven't had to deal with price reductions much recently. Remember, it's not July 2021 anymore. Do you know what this reminds me of? remember in the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy says, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. Okay. Remember, it's not July 2021 anymore. Okay. This summer, you must help sellers understand that the market is different. This is one of the hardest conversations because people think that just like 6 months ago, that number one, their house should sell in 3 days. Number two, they can set the price and they're going to have multiple offers. It's not July 2021 anymore. Okay. So you have to understand that the market is different. That begins with a solid pricing presentation at the time of the listing. The best strategy is to get the property priced correctly from the get-go. However, some sellers will want to try a higher price, which is understandable. We can debate whether you should walk away from an overpriced listing at another time. But for now, you've had the property on the market for a while, and now it is not selling. Your seller is getting anxious, and you know it's time to have the price reduction conversation. It's time to get prepared. Here's what you do. Compile all the latest stats from your marketing efforts, views on Zillow, social media traffic, inquiries, showings, open houses, etc. Pull all this information together in a report and be sure to document showing feedback in detail. Updates on the local market and comparables, essentially an updated CMA. And review options. Be prepared to make recommendations on price, condition, and terms that should be adjusted to result in a sale. Okay, so somebody tell me, let's see how smart you are today. I'm going to give you all a test. Okay, I put a house on the market. I've had it on the market for 2 weeks. I look on the MLS and we've had hundreds of views, people looking at it on the MLS. We have not had one showing. What is more than likely the problem?
It's overpriced.
Overpriced. It does not take a rocket scientist to figure out that we have, whether you think your home is worth that or not, people looking at your home are viewing it as being an overpriced property. And guess what? When is the most effective marketing time of your listing?
First 2 weeks.
The first 2 weeks. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact. If your home in that first 2 weeks gets kind of the stigma that, oh, it's an overpriced home. Those people, yeah, they just want too much for their home. You may not be able to pull some of those people that may have been interested in your home. You may not be able to pull them in. And so, because they've already moved on to something else. Okay, so you want to price your home aggressively the first time. Do you know what? I'll give you an example. I just sold a listing. It's going to close on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. I'm going to share this with you. I'm really putting it out there today and showing you how I think I'm pretty smart, but sometimes you feel really pretty stupid. Okay, so this is a referral I got from a good friend. And I went out and took a look at the property, and the property was in pretty bad shape. In fact, it's in a PUD, so a planned development. And when you pull in, it's a whole street of prefab homes. So when I first pulled in, I kind of did that. Then there's a nice big park, which is really nice. And then I turned and went over 2 streets to the street where this house was. Well, I was happy to see that there are now stick-built homes that looked a lot better than when you pulled into the PUD. Okay, but I pulled up the previous listing when the people bought the home, and it was really quite cute and in good shape. The yard was nice and everything. When I pulled up in front of the home, the paint was peeling around the garage and around the front door. The grass, the lawn, dead in a few places, and it was hadn't been mowed for probably weeks. The fencing around the property had never had a coat of stain, and it was that kind of almost dry rot look. And so I thought, oh no, okay, this will be interesting. Went into the house and it wasn't much better. They informed me that, you know what, the swamp cooler doesn't work. The garage door opener doesn't work. The carpeting needs cleaned. They had 2 large dogs, a snake, and a gerbil. Okay. I have my work cut out for me, don't I? Okay.
I had to
So-
run from the snake.
It was
I
a
just
big,
said, nope.
it was a big snake. It was like this big around. And I'm saying, why would you have a snake as a pet? You know, they said, oh, he's harmless. No, not if he wraps that big body around your neck. I'll bet he won't be harmless. But anyway, I sat with them and I had to have a serious conversation. And you can do it without, you know, without putting them on the defensive. I told them, your house really needs a lot of work, you guys. And the price that we get out of your house is going to be up to you. And so I gave them a whole shopping list of things that they needed to do. They didn't have the money to fix the swamp cooler. They didn't have the money to fix the garage door opener. Oh, when I came back the second time, the garage door spring had busted. They were replacing that. So, yes. Anyway, long story short, we put the house on the market at $329,900. I'm really good at doing CMAs, and I could not find anything that would justify a higher price at $329,900. In fact, the highest price one that sold in that very neighborhood was $328,000. So they wanted to get maximum money out of their home. And so I said, well, let's put it at $329,900. I said, I don't think that's what we're going to get. So don't be offended if you get some lowball offers, because this is going to be viewed as kind of a fixer-upper. And they said, we understand, Don. So anyway, put it at $329,900. I put it on the MLS on a Thursday because I wanted people to have showings over the weekend. And we had several showings over the weekend. I had 4 people tell me they were sending offers. Okay. So what do you do? What do you do? I didn't have any offers in hand, but I called all 4 people and told them that I had been contacted by 4 interested buyers who said they were sending me offers. You know, I have nothing in hand right now, but I wanted you to know that. Okay, guess what? I only got 1 offer. But because the 1 offer was probably, this was somebody that had lost out on the last 3 homes they put offers on. And they offered $350,000. $350,000, which I thought, no way we're going to get an appraisal up that high. $7,500 earnest money, $5,000 goes non-refundable upon acceptance of the contract. They're doing a conventional loan. They waived due diligence, and they would allow the sellers needed to stay in the property until August 15th. And so they're going to allow them to, they're going to close on July 26th and allow them to stay in the home until the 15th of August. Perfect offer. Other than I sat down with people and I told them, you know, here's what might happen. I said, who knows? The market is so crazy, it might appraise for $350,000, but I don't think so, because I never found any comparables that would justify that. So I said, wherever it appraises, even if it appraises for $310,000, that the good thing that we will know is that you're getting top dollar for your home. Well, to end the story, they had an appraisal done right away. Guess what? It appraised for $350,000. I could not believe it. But anyway, these people are doing the happy dance. They think I walk on water, even though I think I'm pretty stupid. I priced it at $329,900. Okay. But that's how crazy this market is right now, isn't it? So anyway, that's a good story about price reductions. I did prepare them that they probably were going to get some lowball offers. I said, don't let it, don't let it upset you. I had them all prepared. So communication is the key, and helping to manage their expectations is so important. Okay. All right. The last thing on here, this is the last page of the report. This just tells you about Fathom. All Fathom agents get their own website, blah, blah, blah. So this is just for those of you that want to help recruit agents, this is a good handout for that. And I don't know why they included it with these 5 things, other than it just kind of, once again, reiterates some of the things that Fathom is famous for. One of the things that I do want to point out, our philosophy, lead by serving. This service first philosophy drives us to provide an exceptional agent experience. The better we serve you, the better you serve your clients. When you serve and love your clients, they will refer new business to you. That is a solid principle. Our guiding principles. Remember how when we were iPro Realty Network, we had our I values. they're very similar to these guiding principles: love, service, integrity, acceptance, respect, support, charity, and family. So, and then what makes Fathom different, you guys? These are some of the things that makes Fathom different. So anyway, that's just a reminder. And then you can send people to fathomcareers.com and talk to your DD if you have anybody that, you know, is interested in joining the Fathom family. But anybody have any comments about these 5 scripts that will help you through this changing market, this shift in the market? Any comments or questions about it?
I think the 2-for-1 buy down is going to be really powerful. This is a big factor.
Yeah, I really think whoever put this together, we've got some great writers and creators of this stuff. I think they hit the nail on the head with all of these conversations. And so you guys, what I would do is go into IntelliAgent, and in the filter box, type in 5 scripts you need right now. And if they don't come up, let me or Georgia know, and we will, in fact, you know what, let me copy, and I will copy and paste this URL into the chat box. And so hold on, there it is. Okay, so everyone, this is the link. Copy and paste it so you have it. Okay, any other questions or comments about it?
So Don, as you were going through that, the one thing that kind of hit me is we had different, you know, ideas and opinions going through.
Yes.
Is everyone has the brother, uncle, nephew that's going to have an opinion on what the future looks like, what's going to happen now. So as you're going through it, just sounded like to me that really we need to be the expert or bring an expert into the field to convince our clients that we know what we're talking about in this shifting market. Because right now, everyone has a guess. So we need to make sure that we're the authority when that they believe.
Brent, bingo. Thank you for sharing that. You're absolutely right. Isn't that what a realtor is? I mean, I'm not a mechanic. I go to a mechanic because I believe that mechanics are trained in the things that I'm not, in taking care of my vehicles. And so, but we have to show them that we are, not just, you don't go ill prepared and just, you know, jaw harp with them. But what it brings out in some of these is that, you know, work with your preferred lender and get some stats. Show them the things that are showing up, not in the country, but in your local market, so that you have something to back up, you know, what you're telling them. And then be the messenger, be the expert, be the professional, so that you're helping them the best that you possibly can. Okay, looks like, let's see. Oh, do you know why? You said you're seeing no link. How about now? If I copied it and then I didn't send it. Okay.
Better.
Okay. I told you I have shiny object syndrome, you guys. Okay. I got my attention was detoured somewhere else. Okay. All right. So I just think this is fabulous. I do. I think it is so spot on. And you guys, when I hear an agent say, "Oh, woe is me, the market's terrible, blah, blah, blah." No, it's not. We have more opportunities right now than you had 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I might have said, "Woe is me," because I mean, it was so crazy things happening, both with appraisals, with, you know, offers, all that kind of stuff. Right now, we have the opportunity for realtors to take back control of the information, and because now sellers and buyers need us more than ever before. Don't you agree with that? So, you know, be that expert. Okay. If you don't have any other questions, anybody have any other comments about anything else?
So I used to have these seminars and I would hold them in Spanish, and I would bring a Spanish speaking lender. Does anyone know any Spanish speaking credit repair companies that are here locally?
That's a great question.
Where is locally though?
Southern Utah.
Oh, no.
Do you know what I would do if I were you, Nellie? I would go to Google and type in Spanish speaking credit repair. And I will guarantee you will get several. My youngest son is a graphic designer and he taught me this. Let's try it. Let's see, Spanish speaking.
But you don't want just anybody though. I mean, that's the tricky part.
But you can interview them. Okay.
You're gonna have to vet them no matter what.
Yeah, you're gonna have to vet them. So look, here we go. Spanish.
Your lenders, but your lenders should have people that do that they can recommend too.
That's a great comment. You can talk to your lender. You can, but when all else fails, you guys, you've always got Google. Google is an incredible machine. And you don't have to take the first one. You can see, look, here's credit reviews. Here's professionalcredit.com, consumeradvocate.org. You can call a few of these and interview them. Look up their reviews or whatever. So great help.
What you can internalize if you have.
So I have a very random. I want to double check some information. Do city ordinances
I'm going to mute everybody because we got some background noise. And then
Nelly, you need right now.
Nelly, you can unmute your microphone after I mute everybody. Okay. All right. Your mics are all muted. You guys remember that. Please keep your your mics muted unless you have a comment or a question. Okay. Go ahead, Nelly.
So do law ordinances supersede CCNRs, or do CCNRs supersede when it comes to zoning ordinances?
It depends. Normally, if the CCNRs are CCNRs from, usually they don't fight against one another. But if they're CCNRs for a subdivision, those are normally determined by the builder or whoever creates that subdivision or whatever. And so if there's something that the city has guidelines that require something different, usually the city, the higher power. Okay. So if you have some specific questions about that, ask your district director. Okay. We can help you with that. Okay. All right. You guys, just last thing that we'll end with, and this will only take a minute. I told you that I want to show you markets in a minute. So now that we've talked about what the market's doing and everything, let's see what markets in a minute says that is happening. And this is, of course, this is what's happening in the country. Okay. So here we go. Rates were unchanged this week as markets held steady ahead of next week's Fed meeting. Inflation continues to worry markets, but fear of the coming recession has helped keep rates in check ahead of next week's Fed meeting. Jobless claims hit their highest level since mid-November last week, the latest sign that a historically tight labor market is beginning to slow. The European Central Bank surprised markets with a larger than expected rate hike, its first in 11 years, signaling inflation is a global problem. Confidence among builders in the nation's single-family housing market fell in July, hitting its lowest level since the start of the pandemic. Housing starts fell to 1.56 million, slightly more than expected. Strength in multifamily construction offset weakness in single-family starts. The median price of an existing home rose for the 124th month to a record $416,000 in June, an increase of 13.4% year over year. Okay, those are some good things, and I like what that last saying was. You have to get up every morning with determination in order to go to bed at night with satisfaction. Is that true? Awesome quote. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. Because now I have it in written form. That's not it. Right here. Here's the markets in a minute, the same thing you just saw in written form. This does show that there's a slight increase in interest rates today, but for the past week, they've stayed flat. The thing I'm concerned about, the feds are getting together next week, and they have been talking about raising interest rates, the highest rate increase in the history of the feds. They're talking about raising it a full 1%. Now, that won't mean that our rates will go up a full 1%, but it will affect it. We will go up somewhat, okay? So here's the 7-day outlook. If I click on this button, this is the 30-day outlook. So it shows you from day to day what happened, okay? Let's look at housing news. Confidence among builders in the nation's single-family housing market fell in July, hitting its lowest level since the start of the pandemic. Housing starts fell to 1.56 million, slightly more than expected. Strength in multifamily construction offset weakness in single-family starts. And the median price of an existing home rose for the 124th month to a record $416,000 in June, an increase of 13.4% year over year. So all of this, you guys, it shows that things are slowing down a little bit, but prices are still increasing somewhat, even though we're seeing some people drop prices. Confidence among builders, that's why, but you have to understand that builders plan projects, a year in advance or whatever. And so I've seen Edge Homes, they've got all this ground that they haven't even started building stuff on, and they're slowing things down a little bit, and they're offering incredible price reduction. So, and then it'll catch up with one another again. Let's see what's happening in the economy. Inflation continues to worry markets, but fear of a coming recession has helped keep rates in check ahead of next week's Fed meeting. Okay, that's going to be a meeting that we're going to want to pay attention to and see what they do with interest rates. Jobless claims hit their highest level since mid-November last week, the latest sign that a historically tight labor market is beginning to slow. And the European Central Bank surprised markets with a larger than expected rate hike, its first in 11 years, signaling inflation is a global problem, okay? We know that inflation right now is definitely a global problem. Anyway, that's kind of what's happening. I've seen interest rates right around 5% or a little bit over 5%. This is showing it from 5.75 to 6%. Make sure that you're working with a good lender that can keep you apprised of interest rates. Don't forget, there are some builders that are guaranteeing a lock-in rate while they're building your home. So they're locking in your rate, they're locking in your pricing. And so those are things to consider as well. Okay, anybody have any questions, any comments? That's all I have for you today. Let's see, somebody has something in the chat room. It says, I texted my district director this question at 9 a.m., but I haven't received an answer yet. If RA5 zoning allows for chickens, my buyer wants, but CCNRs do not allow for chickens on a lot, do CCNRs supersede city zoning ordinances? In this case, Nellie, I'm pretty sure they would, because the CCNRs, even though the city might allow chickens, the CCNRs are the consensus of the people that live in that neighborhood. And so they're saying, even though they're allowed, we don't want them in our subdivision. So no, you would not be able to do that. You would be fined by the homeowners association or whatever you have there if you have an HOA. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that. Okay. Yeah.
This is Lee. I have a couple questions completely unrelated. Should I call you after or talk now?
Yeah, why don't you give me a call afterwards, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anybody else, anything else? Let's see. Got it. Want to double check. Okay. Okay, you guys. Hey, you got a holiday weekend coming up. Monday's a holiday. Everybody be safe out there. You just never know. Keep your eyes peeled, and if you see something, say something. We don't want any anything happening over the holidays. We want everybody drive carefully. Don't speed. I've seen a lot of highway patrolmen out there. So get out there, have fun, but be safe. It's going to be a hot, hot weekend. All right. Thank you so
Okay.
much, everybody, for being
Thank you,
here.
Don.
Thank
Have a
you,
great
Don.
week.
Very, very good.
Of course. I love sharing with you. So you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Oh, don't forget, if you haven't signed up, we still have a few places left for our Habitat for Humanity, which is a week from today and Saturday. There's 15 people for Friday and 15 for Saturday. I think we've got a couple spots open for
Where is
Friday.
that one? Where is that one? Because I read about it, but I didn't know where it was.
Yeah, this is down here, Aurora. So
That's what I thought. Okay.
yeah, unless you want to drive down here, we'd love to see you.
No, thank you. I'll pass.
Right. Okay. But anyway, don't forget that. Don't forget to put on your calendar August 23rd. Again, anybody is welcome to come, but this is up here in the north. We're having a barbecue in Sugar House Park at the Sugar Beet Pavilion. And we're providing hot dogs and hamburgers. And you guys each bring a side and let Georgia or Maya know, what you'll be bringing, just so we don't have all potato salads and nothing else. Okay. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Be safe, and we'll talk to you again next week. Okay. Bye-bye.